I've got the bottom glue up out of the vise. Looks good. I can't really see the joint very well, so that's good. So I'm going to plane this flat. Before I start, I did scrape the glue off before it got totally dry, but there's still a little bit of glue there, and I don't want that to gum up the plane, so I'm going to use my scraper to just clean the glue up. That'll make the planing go a little better. I'm going to use my my jack plane to get it fairly flat, and then I'll finish with my smoothing plane. Checking for flat. It looks pretty flat now, so I'll switch to my smoother. Now I forgot, I wanted to make this a little thinner, so I've scribed a line all the way around it, and now I've got my foreplane, and I'm going to take off almost 1/16 of the material. Okay, that's ready to cut to size now. All right, to start getting this to size, I need to joint one edge. Okay, I've got a straight reference. Now I can go to the shooting plane, or shooting board. I need to cut this to width and to length. So the width is going to be the baseline to baseline plus the the 1/4 inch depth of the groove on either side, but then minus 1/16 on both sides. So basically from this dimension I want to come out 3/16 on either side. So I'm going to measure this dimension and add 3/8 of an inch to get the width of this. So this dimension is 6 15/16, so it's just a 1/16 of an inch short of 7. So I'll go a 1/16 short of 7 3/8. So 7 5/16. That should be the width of this. And I'm measuring from the surface that I planed there. So now I might so that gets me here. I think I'd actually rather come from this edge to kind of even things out a little more. So I'm going to joint this edge and then come from here and go that direction instead. Okay, I just jointed that edge. So 7 5/16 is where I want to end up. Okay, I had a pretty wacky cut there, so I've got a lot more material to take off at this end. Increase my depth of cut a little bit there. Alright, I'm going to check my width at each end. And I'm a 32nd under, but it's parallel, so I'm happy with that. Since I redid these edges, I'm going to shoot the end again. Yeah, it's not quite square from before. Okay. So now I'll do the same thing here. Going to measure baseline to baseline. So that is, say, 13 15/16. So I want to be 3/8 longer than that. So 14 5/16, just like before, 5/16 over. So 14 5/16. Cross cut that. (14 5/16). Okay. So I can make my rabbet next. I'm going to use a rabbet plane to create the rabbet around the edge of the bottom. This is the Veritas rabbet plane. It's a nice plane. I think they've done a great job of recreating the Stanley 78, which is what this is modeled after. So I'm setting the depth of cut here. I'm just sighting down the sole. That looks about right. So it has a lever cap here. That's the depth adjuster. I've got the fence set to give me the width of the rabbet. Needs to be at least 1/4 inch. I'm going to set it, or I've got it set to 5/16, and I've got the depth stop set just temporarily. I need to take off enough material to leave 1/4 inch tongue. So this is just a little over half. If I take off 1/4, I'll end up with a 1/4 inch plus tongue, and then I'll start fit checking it in the parts. So I'm going to put this in the vise like this, and as before, I want to make sure the edge is past the bench, because the fence hangs down below this surface, and I don't want to hit the workbench. Also, I'm doing the end grain first, because I'm going to get a little bit of tear out as I come off of the edge here. And if I do the ends first, then when I do the edges, that will clean up any tear out there. So like with the plow plane, there's not a lot of registration on this thing. So a big part of the registration is the fence hitting this edge. So I'm going to have my fingers down here. I like to put my thumb right here, and that makes it pretty solid. So we'll see how this works. Now this does have the nicker that will scribe a line across here before the blade gets to it. Now I just realized I almost messed up here. Yeah, I want this to be the inside surface of my box, so I want to make the rabbet on the underside. There we go. All right, so we'll see how this. There we go. I really want to make sure I'm registered correctly here. It's real easy to rock this, but people have a tendency to rock it this way. So really trying to make sure I'm keeping the pressure in the right place. I'm also pushing low on the handle. Once again, if I push up high, it's easy to rock it. I've got my elbow locked against my side, so I'm trying to move my body more than just my arms. Okay, so got a rabbet all the way around. Now, if this surface is not clean, I could use a shoulder plane to clean it up, but these look pretty good. Next thing I want to do is plane this surface again. It gets, typically it gets a little scratched up from the depth stops or whatever. So I'll plane this, and okay, so that looks good. I don't want to plane the other side because it was down all this time and it was protected. Plus, planing that surface will make this tongue thinner, which I don't want to do. I do want to knock these corners down. They'll be tucked up inside the bottom of the box, but it just looks nicer if these are rounded or chamfered. So I'm going to chamfer these. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to chamfer this corner down here because it'll make it easier to assemble the box later if that's not a sharp edge. Okay, so the bottom looks good. We'll work on the handle next.